Hello, everyone. This is Gail, aka Sunshine. Today, we're doing another episode in When Cancer Hits Home, a series presented by Epic Experience and Pickles Group, where we're exploring what cancer looks like for the entire family going through the journey. So, today we have a couple with us, Justin and Kimber Harris. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Hi, thank you.
So today I'm going to start like I usually do. I'm just going to ask you each to introduce yourself and please include one fun fact. So Justin, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. I am Justin. I'm 44 years old, born and raised in Illinois. We have three kids, Milo, Veda, and Zuri. They are 10, 8, and 5. Fun fact about me is I'm into cryptozoology, Bigfoot, Dogman, all that crazy sorts of stuff. So in my spare time, I include the family. We listen to podcasts and do a little research and stuff like that, little projects on the side. So we have fun with it.
I don't even know what cryptozoology is, so that's awesome. All right, Kimber, how about you?
Hi, I'm Kimber, also born and raised in Illinois. We actually met in high school. It's when we started dating. I'm 42. Um, let's see. A fun fact about myself is my first job was when I was 7 years old, and it was catching fireflies in my neighborhood because the woman that lived across the street, her and her husband would they partnered together to get all the children in the area to hunt for lightning bugs, and then they would turn them in for cancer research. And then
Really?
and then I got cancer. But yeah,
Well, there's a
right.
little
I
irony
just
for you, but that's fascinating. I've never heard of that.
Mhm. We were like on the news when I was 7. We had little t-shirts. It was cute. But they were doing
Okay,
some sort of research with the fireflies back then in the early
really?
early 90s.
That is fascinating. Well, you just alluded to what brings us together here is that you were diagnosed with cancer. So, Kimber, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, what kind, treatment, all that kind of stuff?
Sure. Let's see. Well, I was 36 when I was diagnosed. I was actually pregnant with our third. At my 33-week checkup, in between my 30 and 33 week, I noticed like a hardening of half of my left breast.
Mm,
So I knew at my next checkup, which was the first of the 3-week checkups, it was 33. I went there. I showed my OB. She also felt like it was concerning. And then she checked my cervix, and I had our daughter like 2 hours later
Mhm.
oh my
at
gosh.
32 weeks. Yeah. Um, and so she went to the NICU for a while. And then let me think. And then about a month later, well, the next day started my scans. So I had an ultrasound while I was in my postnatal room. And then we were there for weeks. But then I ended up getting diagnosed on our other daughter's third birthday,
Yeah.
Mm.
like while I'm icing her birthday cake. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was December 20th. She
Yeah,
was like
What
2019.
year? 2019.
2019. Yep.
And
Yep.
there's nothing else going on in the world, shortly thereafter.
Oh,
Oh man,
right before the pandemic. Yeah, crazy.
it was
Wow.
wild. Yeah.
Yep.
I was actually in um my cancer center waiting room waiting to see my oncologist, and they're like the first two people from Washington had landed, from Wuhan, China or whatever, and or
Wow.
whatever it was where they had
Yeah.
landed from. And I was like, I watch this be a thing.
Oh, no.
It was a huge thing.
So you were officially diagnosed with breast cancer.
Stage 3,
Okay.
HER2 positive, estrogen receptor positive, progesterone negative, which was an interesting split.
Yeah, that is.
And I did 6 rounds of TCHP chemo, and then I had to do a full year of Herceptin and Perjeta every 21 days with the Neulasta and all that.
Mhm.
I also, in the middle of that, 28 out of 28 radiations,
Wow.
um, from like here all the way here. So basically ever my heart.
Right.
And I got third-degree burns and shingles. It
Oh,
was terrible. I've had, I don't, how many surgeries have I had? I've had probably like
Yeah, about 10 plus.
I think I had,
Maybe, yeah, maybe even in the 20s, 30s.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
considering all the little things and all that
yeah,
stuff
if
too.
we count like the IR and the
Yeah,
smaller, like,
Yeah.
outpatient things, I probably had close to like 30
yeah,
operations in the past 5 years.
yeah.
Wow. Now, has it come back or have you been after that
No,
initial?
I know it.
Yay.
No,
Great.
no.
Well, that's the good news. Okay. So you've already alluded to the fact that, well, one, you were pregnant, had to give birth immediately, and then started treatment. So you had 3 kids at that point. How
Mhm,
would you describe, so prior to that day, how would you
mhm.
describe your relationship together and also family life? And Justin, I'll ask you first.
Okay. We were definitely super busy. I was working downtown, so 2 hours commute in and out each day, and kind of get home and manage what I could once I got here. So it was kind of we were always kind of moving and always had something to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and your kids were how old at that point? The 2 you had prior?
Oh, 2019. So
Three
Milo
and
is
two.
3 and 2. No.
Well, Beta had just turned 3, so
Yeah,
four
she
and
was.
3.
Yeah, 4 and 3.
Hmm.
Yep.
And they're not active at all at that age, so I'm sure.
Right.
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 Kimber, how would you describe life and family life and your relationship and also your relationship together at that point?
Yeah, I'd say everything was great. Like I enjoyed being a stay-at-home mom. Um, like you said, I mean, I was not bored ever. I was stressed out though with my own personal, like my side of the family,
Mm.
because, we had just lost my grandpa
Oh,
and he lived with us so on in-home hospice one day in 2019.
oh gosh.
We woke up that morning and I found him, and it was just, we knew it was coming because he was on hospice with us, but it was still difficult. Like
Well,
he was
yeah,
like my dad and he was like his grandpa. I mean, he was my grandpa, but
Mhm.
right. And would
um,
you say that you 2 had a good relationship at that point? Communication? I mean, you've known each other since you were kids, basically. I mean, you were in high
Yeah.
school. So how would you
yeah.
describe your relationship at that point?
Yeah, we were close. Yeah, we had a
Yeah, we're pretty
super
close.
close.
I mean, yeah,
We
we
had
were
a
married and had some kids. We were all
had a
right.
Yeah,
routine. Yeah, doing what we could
yeah,
do just to support the family, and had fun when we could.
Yeah,
yeah.
and we've really been living on our own together since we were 22. So
Okay.
at that point, it had
Yeah.
been like a solid 10,
Yeah.
15 years or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you remember most about those first few days other than kind of that? Everybody describes the want, 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 right? You kind of at some point kind of tune out what the doctor's saying because it's so shocking.
Mhm.
But what, if you can kind of put yourself back there, what do you remember most? How you felt? How you tried to support each other? All of those kinds of things. Kimber, I'll start with you this time.
I remember when I found out, and then I had to tell him.
Uh,
Like, I couldn't tell him because he was in traffic coming home from the city from Chicago, which was like a 2-hour commute
Yeah.
during rush hour. So I was like, I can't call him because he's gonna be road raging. So I called my best friend in the country. Her and her daughter jumped in the
mm,
car and like drove a couple hours to me. They got here before you did.
Hmm.
And
wow.
when I saw him, the way we communicated, I just looked at him and he just knew. And I
Yeah, I knew
just,
something was wrong because we were kind of waiting.
we
So
were
I knew
waiting.
something was off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough, but I just remember, man, I didn't sleep. Um, I was scared to almost. I was just terrified of everything. My
Mm,
mind was, I would go to all the
Yeah.
dark corners, I'd ruminate. Um, I was pumping
Yeah, you were able
like
to.
a mad woman.
oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
had to.
She was able to pop until she started chemo, so we had a stockpile in the freezer of breast milk for our youngest, so that helped out a ton. But how long did you actually pump? I mean, how long?
Like a crazy person.
When did you start? Did you exactly start chemo? Which day?
I started chemo January 3rd. I
January
got my
3rd.
port put in January 2nd. I started chemo January 3rd. I was diagnosed December 20th. So from the 20th to the 2nd,
You were a
I,
pumping wild
Yeah,
woman.
oh my
yeah.
goodness, it was
Wow.
crazy.
So,
Even that morning before I went into surgery, I was
mhm.
allowed to pump. But
Wow.
after that, it was,
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
God, it hurt to throw all that milk away. But I got us to 5.5 months.
Wow.
yeah.
from like 3 weeks. I was pumping over 100 ounces a day.
Yeah, that's crazy. What do you remember about how did you try well, and Justin, this may be more of a
Huh?
question for you, but what do you remember about how you tried to support Kimber, especially in those early days?
Yeah, I was kind of lost and didn't really know what to do. So I just kind of just stayed quiet and just listened and just wanted to follow whatever the doctors told us to do. I wanted to make sure we handled that, as quick and as efficiently as possible. But I was kind of, kind of confused as well. Didn't know what to do and what steps to take. So we're just kind of a waiting game. And as soon as we had that plan, that's when we started, and we kind of went from there. I transitioned from working in office to working from home, and my parents came to help out, and we just kind of went from there. And along that time, the pandemic is kind of circling in, and we don't know what's going on there. So we kind of limited our circle and just did the best that we could each day and went from there.
Yeah, that is an interesting twist is the pandemic. So, I mean, Kimber, you still went in and did treatment as normal, but had to kind of limit other people that you were associating with, I'm assuming.
Oh, that part, which, oh my gosh, it put a lot of blockades in our family. I feel like
Oh, wow.
the whole
Yeah.
the debate and all of that. There are people that just would not wear a mask for me, like immediate family, which was kind of wild, stuff like that. But I don't know. It was difficult because probably by my third infusion, I was told, next time you can't have anybody with you.
Oh, gosh.
So I mean, I did it all by myself. You know what I mean? Like, and I drove myself to radiation. He was here holding down the fort with the
Yeah,
kids.
the kids.
That's how we really supported each other. It was
I
our
was
like
gonna
vice versa give and take, which
Mhm.
is really the balance of our relationship ever since we were kids, honestly. It was never like we both, and I swear we've told we've we've never both like been really on at the same time ever. I feel like throughout our whole
Yeah,
relationship, like either he has a really good secure job and I'm doing something creative or like not working or vice versa. And that's basically how it was when I was sick.
Interesting. So it was almost like you had this pattern established that you didn't know you would need years
hmm
down the road.
Be trained.
And then here
yeah.
you are, you're using it. Very interesting. So
hmm
what did I mean, you've kind of alluded to this just in saying that, but what did partnership look like practically and emotionally, especially when you had a newborn and two other kids?
Yeah, I really didn't have time to think. It's just that you had things that we had to do each day, whether she had to go to the hospital and take care of the baby. I was still working and also taking care of the other kids. And we just, hour by hour, whatever we had to do, we kind of did it and just kind of went through it like that. Yeah.
I
Yeah, you're
used I
Yeah.
used a lot of recording
Yeah.
apps when I would go to my appointments because
oh,
I mean, you forget everything.
Yeah.
mhm.
And it sucks like when you're by yourself and you're like, oh God, what did you say? Did I ask that? I should have asked that. I meant to ask that. Like I had to like start writing everything down, notes and because chemo brain's real.
Oh, it's absolutely real. So that's an interesting point. So you actually would have to record and then share with Justin when you got home the things that because he wasn't able to be there with you. Yeah, that
Mhm.
is an interesting aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really interesting. So it sounds like you may have coped in different ways. Would that let me ask you that first, point blank. Would you say that you coped with this in different ways?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I want to ask each of you how you coped. Like, what were your outlets and strategies? I'm going to start with that question. So,
Okay.
how would you say you coped? What were your personal outlets and strategies? Kimber, I'll ask you first.
Well, I mean, I did seek out therapy. So I
Okay.
started there. I've been in therapy for a couple years. um, with various therapists recently, only just finding my match. You know what I mean? It takes forever. That and um, let me think. Oh, I looked for supportive AYA groups where why did our see our camera? The supportive AYA groups. And I would say also just like support and friendship. Um, I didn't really have a lot of peer support during treatment because I was so streamline focused. But I would say once we hit the survivorship road where I like was on my way to getting reconstruction and things like that, I mean, not, I'm out of the woods,
Right.
declared NED. So that's when I kind of had to start seeking peer support
Yeah.
because as much as he was there with me through all of it, I mean, as much as he held my hand at night and physically carried me to the bathroom so I could vomit all over everything. He's still, you know what I mean? Like he's still
Yeah, I'm learning, going through the process myself. I don't understand kind of
he
what's going
shaved
on.
my head, but he didn't
I
lose his hair.
have.
You know what I'm saying? Like he
Right.
started growing out these gorgeous dreads. I went bald, okay? Like, and that was
But
one of
this
Yeah.
was my hair was because of the pandemic. You couldn't go to the barber shop.
So
So
that's how it
that
started.
was the reason my hair. I never thought I would have dreads. That was one haircut I didn't think I would ever have. But unable to go to the barber shop. This is kind of what happens.
he
And here
started
we
growing
are.
out the day I
Yeah.
got diagnosed.
That's
Oh
kind of
gosh.
cool.
Well, that's interesting.
Really
So,
fucked up.
Justin, did you reach out for any kind of, I don't know, therapy support for caregiver type things, or how did you cope? What
Yeah,
strategies did you
my
use?
parents came. They
Okay,
were
that's
a
right.
huge help with the newborn and the other two managing, where I could be there when she needed me. I could still work and then kind of get the little things done kind of in between. But as far as that, there was no other really outward support. My work did wonderful things to let me stay at home, so I transitioned from going in office to
That's
working
great.
from home. And then a few months later, when the pandemic actually hit, everybody started working from home, but I'd already been doing that.
Yeah,
So main thing, I was just there for her, everything she needed, and my parents helped out a lot, kind of
yeah,
in between stuff. So
yeah. Yeah, and Kimber, it makes total sense that you wanted to look for peer support because as much as Justin's there, he isn't going through it. And so it really does
mhm.
help to talk to someone who's had their head shaved because they had to, not because it was,
Yeah.
a
Right.
voluntary thing. I'm curious what you learned about each other. So those are your different outlets or strategies. Going through this time, what did you learn about each other from those differences,
I
Kimber?
just realized. Oh,
Um, that he can really put on a good front and be a rock when he needs to. And yeah, I mean, he did that a lot for all of
Mm,
us. And
mm,
yeah.
yeah, he still does it. Like I'm still going through it,
Mm.
you know? I
yeah.
just at my last appointment, which was a couple months ago, just recently graduated to 6 month checks.
Congratulations.
Mhm.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I've been 3 months, every three
Wow.
months for 6 years.
Mhm.
I
Wow.
have 10 years on letrozole, so
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that continuing to be on something, and I was on letrozole for a short time, so I do
it's
know
brutal.
that
Mhm.
it doesn't really feel like you're done, right? Because 'Cause you're
Right.
still
No.
doing something, so I can
Mhm.
understand that, and graduating to 3 months is huge, so or 6 months is huge, so congratulations.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Justin, what did you learn?
Just how strong she was, strong and resilient. So she never complained. Whatever she had to do, she would just go out and do it and just get it done. So I never had any doubts or anything like that. I was just wanted to be there to support her and just
I did.
help her help her get through
Yeah.
whatever we needed, just kind of day by day. That's all we could do back then, is just go each day by each day. So
Did you find that hard to stay day to day? Was it a challenge not to keep thinking about what if and the future and things like that for either of you? I'm curious.
a little bit, but with us being so busy just with the kids at home and just things that we had to do, you really didn't have time to think too much further out. It's just kind of in
Yeah,
the moment, whatever we needed to do, so
yeah.
He's also very much so able to compartmentalize things,
Mm,
whereas I am not. Like I wear my emotions like everywhere. So if I'm raging, like I'm gonna rage, which I didn't do that often. Like again, back to the coping.
mhm.
right.
I remember my first therapist, she asked me, how do you cope? And I said, oh, I said I ugly cry in the shower with a joint of medicinal cannabis. And she was like, what? She's like, so let's talk about like why you call it ugly crying. I'm like, no, like ugly cry, like
Like,
"Ah."
right.
And she's like, no, but why is that ugly? And I was like, oh, we're not gonna we're not going to mesh. But
I would have completely understood.
thank you. Because that was honest.
Yeah.
I did that a lot.
Yeah.
That was my thing, because I didn't want to scare the kids. I didn't want to cry
Yeah.
in front of the
Yeah.
kids. They were very small. And he was just doing so good, just being like solid dad. Like it would have broke me to see him broken,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Even when we family style chopped my hair, like that, the whole family, the kids chopped my braid off.
Did they?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
Mhm.
They all got a pass at the clippers. I was crying for the first, I think, minute and a half, and then I chilled. I was just like numb, and I was just like, oh my God.
I mean,
Just
obviously it's an unfortunate situation, but what a neat bonding experience for you as a whole family.
yeah, it
To have
was.
that they were able to participate in that. It is so weird. Cancer gives us these weird, cool moments like
I
that,
know.
right?
It was
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm curious how this whole experience so this has been 6 years now, going
Mhm,
through this. How has it shaped your marriage and your parenting and the way
mhm.
you approach life together, every day? Justin?
I guess we've become closer, experiencing everything that we've been through. As far as parenting, we've got some loose ends to tie. We got kind of lenient with our kids right now, just from everything that they've been through and just how everything's shaped with the pandemic and going through that. So we have some things to kind of tighten up with the kids, but for all they've been through, we feel like we put them, in the best spot that we could have, considering what we had to go through.
Mhm.
So, but we're
Yeah.
definitely closer.
Yeah, we're closer. Yeah, you know, yeah, I feel like that too. But also, I just like with the kids, um, parenting wise, it was just, but well, with everything really, it was just kind of, I had to learn to let go of the expectations that I had because
Mhm.
I also had to remind myself that I had to grieve those things because, who I thought I was going to be as a mom or as a wife, that person's
Yeah.
gone. That doesn't exist anymore. It's who I'm going to be now. And so it's kind of difficult because physically, like my mind can do things. You know what I'm saying? Like I can do things,
Yeah.
but then I was just talking about this with my friend earlier today. It's like I know my limits now. That's one of the things that I've gained from cancer. It's like I started today, I started to paint my front door. And I didn't even get one full coat. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I quit. Like my hand's numb. I can't do it anymore. I'm tired.
Right.
My arm's gonna blow up. And I was like, well, I did good. I did about 2/3 of half of one coat. But it's knowing your limitations and forgetting expectations and picking and choosing the battles with the kids. I mean, I cannot complain about everything, every little thing, or I'd go insane. And honestly,
Yeah.
they're so good
Mhm.
considering all the trauma and everything that they've been through, especially with the death in our home. My grandpa,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
then our dog died, then our cat
Oh.
died.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh
Then
my
it was,
god.
I mean, we had a rough year. I mean, I was,
2019 was rough for you
yeah, it
guys. I
was
mean,
rough.
oh,
2019, 2020 was
20,
horrible.
yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh
But
gosh.
yeah, I mean,
W
no one
would you
else has seen me at my absolute
Mhm.
worst. I'll say.
Yeah. Kimber, you just mentioned ways that you've changed your perspective, your
Mhm.
expectations and knowing your limits and things like that. Justin, do you feel like anything's changed for you? Like, do you approach things differently now, would you say, in any way?
I try to focus more so just on family and get out and kind of do what we can do while we can, and
Yeah.
kind of let some of the things go that maybe I wouldn't have before. So whether it be work or just friends and stuff like that, I kind of
Yeah.
like just focus all my energy towards her and the kids. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a common theme, especially as I've been talking to kids, our parents and kids going through this is valuing that time that you have together and
Hmm.
kind
Mhm.
of shifting the priorities a little bit. Is there anything that either of you would share that I haven't specifically asked you about, whether it's to a spouse, the spouse who has been diagnosed or to the spouse who has not been? Justin, I'll start with you.
Ooh, can't think of anything offhand. What do you?
I
what
would
do you
just
think?
say to the person that's not yet or going through a diagnosis process, it's okay to spiral.
Mm.
And I feel like if you have a person, lean on that person if you can. You know what I mean? Like if they're there to prop you up, like lean hard, because I remember it was probably everything really, I think, kind of hit me hard around my third round. So I think in
Mm.
my third round of chemo too, I looked in the mirror and I was like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like this is why they call it a fight. Like I get it.
Yeah.
Like I was struggling to brush my teeth. Everything hurt. I had mucositis, you know what I mean?
Mm.
I had sores from the steroids all over my head. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
It was a really tough regimen. But I don't know, just, do your best to just stay focused and one foot in front of the other and take other people's advice, unsolicited advice, with a huge grain of salt. Listen to your gut and your oncologist, and seek peer support. That's important.
Yeah, within the community, I think that's huge. People that can understand what you're going through, what you're going to go through. People outside of that, like she said, just the advice and stuff is they
Wild.
try, but it's it's better to seek it within the community.
Even some in the
Mhm.
community are kind of, if they
Yeah,
don't have cancer or haven't had it themselves,
yeah,
even if they deal with it every day. Do you remember that woman, the wig person?
yeah,
I'm not going to say her name,
yeah.
but as I left, she said, be mindful. And I was like, what does that mean? She's like, other people are going to be worried about your look being jarring. I was like, did she basically tell me to wear a wig?
Are
But
you serious?
yes. But I mean, there's
Wow.
comments like that if you
Yeah.
listen to that, you're gonna just, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
had to forget it. And I was glad that I accidentally forgot it from chemo and I found it
Chemo
later in a
brain.
journal. Yeah. Because I also coped with journals. So I found it later in a journal and I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
But
interesting. Well, good for you for embracing your baldness and
I
doing
did.
what felt right to you. Yeah,
Baldness and beanies. That's how I went with
it's
it.
true. It is true.
Bamboo beanies.
Oh, I didn't try that.
There's
Well,
all.
those listening, bamboo greenies, there's another tip. So, well, one question I always end with, just to kind of bring it back to a lighter note, is marshmallows over a campfire, slow and steady or flame and crispy?
Flaming crispy. I like my marshmallows charred. I like to
Oh,
let them get on fire and then I like rotate it so the fire is evenly distributed throughout
mm-hmm.
the marshmallow. And
Yeah, I like slow and steady. I don't like them super charred, just enough where they're melted and kind of gooey and without being burnt. So,
Yeah.
I like
I usually start out like Justin and end up like Kimber.
oh yeah, it could, it happens quickly.
It does, it
Yeah.
does. Well, thank you both. I mean,
oh,
really, what a neat story you have. I mean, you were teenagers, obviously, when you met,
Mhm.
and now you have gone through so much, and to see how it has brought you together, made you stronger, built those ties with your family. Again, cancer can cause weird but cool situations, and I'm so glad you guys have embraced that. That's really neat.
thank
So,
you.
thank
You,
you.
thanks for having us.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the rest of you who are listening, until next time we gather around the campfire, keep living beyond cancer.
Bye.
Bye.